Yesterday here on the YouTube channel, I showed you guys a one-play touchdown that beats the cover 4 defense that so many players like to run. Today, we're coming right back at you out of the same formation, but a different play. And this one is very, very important because it'll shut down the most important blitz meta in the game while serving as a one-play touchdown as the coverage that everyone likes to run behind it. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, get out your pen and pad, and let's lock in. So one of the reasons I do content the way I do here on the channel is that I want to be able to show you something that is a standalone tip, can help you improve. But oftentimes I also want to build concepts that will teach you how the game works and what things can be effective against the coverage. But also you have to understand that just because you can bomb a coverage doesn't mean that you can necessarily always bomb that coverage if somebody's blitzing in front of it. So today we're going to emphasize the importance of having a regular one-play touchdown against the base rush, then having something else that you can use to get that same score against the same coverage when your opponent is blitzing in front of it. So yesterday we talked about this because verticals is a great one-play touchdown against the cover 4 meta. Our setup yesterday was very, very simple. Bunch to the short side of the field, slant the tight end, do whatever you want with everyone else. But all that mattered was that the tight end pulls down the outside player, and then we can freeform into that gap between the outside corner and the safety for a one-play score. The reason for this was that the outside corner was reactive to the crossing concept from that tight end that we put on the slant. So while he's dropping underneath of this corner, he sees this, and this is what gives us this angle because he squats on that slant, temporarily giving us this window. And this is great anytime you face a cover 4. So if you're facing the 3-2 cover 4, if you're facing the 1-4 or 3-4 odd, and you could block a 3-man rush, that is great. But then what occurs is you're going to face players that are a little bit more versed in the game. They're going to set up that same coverage, but they're not going to give you time to run this. And I get these types of comments all the time in the YouTube channel where somebody will say, yeah, this is great, but you're never getting enough time for that. And it's like, well, I'm showing you a route combination versus a coverage, and you will face players that are just going to run the stock rush. You're going to have that time. But of course, you're also going to face players that are good and know how to blitz in front of that coverage. So you might be facing someone who comes out and then they run a blitz, but then they change the entire defense around that blitz into a cover 4. That's not to say that you can't run yesterday's tip out of verticals where you put the guy on a slant, but you also must understand how to block this. So when you come out in this and you don't know how to block it, you end up getting screamed at. You probably will run into this all the time. But you see in the backdrop, the slant makes that outside corner squat just as we promised it would. The problem was there's pressure in our face. So that's where today's video comes into play. And we're going to be breaking down the play known as PA drag wheel. Now, this was bar none my favorite play to run in Madden 22 and Madden 23, because in Madden 22, this drag wheel that we're going to be talking about smoked man-to-man coverage so badly that you could never call it at all. It was literally the best man beater in the game. But it's also really, really good, and I ran it again in Madden 23 because it's a great pull route, and it's also a great route that you can throw in general against zone as well at the same time. I'll explain more here in a minute. So let's go and talk about the base cover 4 and how this is similar to yesterday's video before we get into the blitz. So when we talk about a cover 4 defense here, all we're going to do, because we have this shallow cross to Hester, is we're going to put that solo receiver on a corner route, and then we're going to custom stem it up at least twice on the D-pad. Now, I will say, for what it's worth, if you want to custom stem it an additional D-pad click, this will make it super consistent, but only do this if you have a ton of time, okay? Here we do have a ton of time. You're going to see that the drag wheel pulls down that guy, and then we rip this throw over the top of his head, and it's very similar that, you know, if we get a better catch animation, that's a touchdown. Nonetheless, it's 50+ yards. So again, anytime you're getting a cover 4 defense, this is really, really awesome. And one of the things that I think is so great about this call is that it also has the play action component. Now, what I'm about to tell you is something that shouldn't be news to you, but if this is something that somehow is news to you, you need to be on the up and up sooner. Play action dumbs out loop blitz metas. And we talked about this probably 4 or 5 months ago on Gridiron game plans. You see, loop blitzes have been meta all year long. Going back to the cover 6 Willie and the 3-2, and now the crossfire, the click and drag method, if you guys want to be on top of the metas, Gridiron Game Plans is the best place to get that intel right away, well before it ever hits this YouTube channel. You guys will get updated vault content weekly, focus on what pro players are doing, how it works, and most importantly, how to beat it when you face it online. That way you're winning more, you're getting more rewards, spending less on packs. It's win-win for everybody. The best deal in the tip space, you also get every single offensive and defensive game plan and members only Discord access, where you guys will be able to attend lab sessions every single week at no additional charge. You might pay $50, $60, even $100 for an hour of another pro Madden player's time. These are included every single week on the schedule at no additional cost. As I mentioned, that cost is only $9.95 a month. Make sure you guys check it out. Now let's explain the loop blitz and why PA drag wheel is so good. So I'm going to set up a crossfire blitz here, and I'm going to call PA drag wheel. As you saw just a little bit ago, that loop blitz against the verticals was very, very good. But what we're going to do now is, because this play is based in play action, it's going to dumb out the loop blitz. So basically what we have is a cover 4 hard flat crossfire blitz. And I want you to watch Urlacher on this play. When we snap this football, you're going to see that he's going to run into the guard and block himself rather than coming in free. So again, all you really need on this is just the 2 routes, but you can use others if you want to. For instance, I might go ahead and put the tight end on a trail route in the middle of the field. Just give me something else that I could throw. If I feel like I want to dump the ball to the running back, I might go ahead and put him on a flat or something. It's totally up to you. But again, you could go ahead and just leave him in the backfield for the purpose of this. Anywho, we're going to go ahead and snap the ball. Urlacher's going to dumb out, run straight into that player, and then Yahtzee. We're throwing this out over the top of that guy's head. Right here, I just make a possession catch for a gain of about 50. You see the dynamic between running regular verticals with this type of concept, but then employing it within a play action play. Furthermore, if you really wanted to, you could come out in any play action play, put the outside receiver on a corner, custom stem it up a couple times, slant the tight end, and do whatever you want with everybody else on this play. So for instance, maybe I go and I run a streak and a super curl to the right side. Again, this is going to be the same premise. If my opponent is running a cover 4 loop blitz, we're going to be able to dumb out the loop blitzer. So again, any play action play, rather than running to the other side on the crossfire, he just dumbs out and runs straight down. This makes this basically a base rush. And if you can have time against the base rush, like we do in verticals, you can now bomb the coverage out of PA drag wheel while dumbing out the loop blitz. So really, really simple way to kind of just use a route combination and pair it with the correct type of play that gives your blocking the best chance to hold up against what everyone likes to run out there. So this is how you build an offense. It's not just having a route combination, but it's also pairing it with the correct protection, whether that is play action or slide protecting or doing a double team or an ID the mic or whatever combination of those mechanics you need to use to give yourself time. You have to be able to understand that route combination isn't just something you run out of one play. It might be something that's conceptual, hence the name. It's something that is, at the end of the day, a concept. So apply it or mimic it out of other plays. It just so happens that drag wheel is a really, really good play. And I did mention that this could beat zone in other ways. So I want to show you one of my favorite things about this. This was a concept that we used with the bunch to the short side of the field for the purpose of bombing cover 4. But let's say for whatever reason, you want to come out with this lined with the bunch to the wide side. Something you could actually do with this play, and I'm a huge fan of this, is to make sure that you attack the flat, use a seam, and I run this concept all the time. This was probably my favorite play to run a couple of years ago, and it's so good against zone. I snap this ball, X is going to run off the deep zone, and then you look at this drag wheel, and it just goes right here into this perfect spot. All these cover 4 hard flat merchants will have a hell of a time dealing with this, because what you're going to notice is that they cannot guard this wheel route as it cuts up to the short side of the field. This hook will not chase. And then of course, on the other side of the field, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, most players tend to user. So if your opponent is usering, and most players will user the right linebacker in a loop blitz defense, if they're not over there, or maybe let's say for whatever reason, they do guard the drag wheel concept manually, then we can go ahead and go to the other side. So we snap this ball and then they're like over here. Well, this is easy throw. So you can check it down. You can do a lot of different things off of this play. This is one of my favorite plays in Madden history. And honestly, I'm kind of ashamed to admit I haven't really run this as much as I should. So I want to throw it on YouTube so it's beneficial for you guys. This is something I'm going to start audibling down into. I think that this formation as a whole can run the ball effectively on this meta. And I've got some pass plays that obviously bomb the main coverage everyone likes to run. So just another wrinkle. It's another club in your bag, and I hope that you guys will add it to yours. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. I'm up out of here. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.